we will get started with session 4 of Bhagavad Gita as it is study. And I'm so grateful to all of you for taking out your precious time to come for this wonderful study of Bhagavad Gita. So before we begin, I would like to take some reflections from the last class. So if you remember or if something stuck you, we can share. One or two devotees can share something really stuck you from the last class, or something during your reading of the verses which were assigned for the last week. If you found something really interesting which inspired you, so if you could please share that, that would be wonderful. Would someone like to share? Anyone remembers what we talk about? No? Yes, Shikal Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Treat others with compassion. That was the point that struck me. It's very important.
Thank you. And I also request if there are some of your friends, relatives who were supposed to join but they couldn't join because of any reason, now it's a time to send them a quick reminder that we have started, so that they can join, because ideally the more and more devotees should join and get the benefit, right? So if you have someone in mind who was joining before or who should be here, but somehow they need a gentle reminder, it's a good way to remind them. Okay, anyone else would like to share any thoughts from the last reading or discussion of chapter 1? We discussed till text number, I believe, 36. What did we talk about last time?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. That was pronounced.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna devotees. So this in text 1.29, it's the summary of it was mentioned as that if somebody has this selfish or separatist kind of a mentality, then it would be detrimental for their spiritual progress. So as I think boiling down to Mataji's point that she spoke about compassion, it is important that we shouldn't be selfish, and it is important that we should show compassion just the way how the great souls, they consider every living creature as their brother or sister, or some sort of a relationship, like mentioned about Vasudeva Kutumbakam. It's all one family kind of environment. So I think that's one thing which really struck me, Prabhu, because in the material world, we are always, like, most of the people are selfish, and I think we need to take that I from us, and then start considering as us or we, and I think that's the way how we can progress spiritually as well. So it's just one point.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll get started with today's discussion, which is again from Bhagavad Gita. We'll cover the last part of chapter 1, and then we will start with the summary, as I mentioned before, with the acronym called DOUBT. Right? So I'm sure we're all eager to hear. So before that, let's chant the Mangalacharan prayers so that we can invoke the blessings of the Guru Parampara. And I'm going to share my screen as well so that we all can see these prayers and chant together. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So thank you so much again for joining for this session, which is the fourth in the series of Bhagavad Gita as it is study. And we will start with some of the reasons. Hare Krishna. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm not in my regular place, so please excuse me for that. Okay. So yeah, we were discussing about the reasons which Arjuna was giving, because when he told Krishna, please take me in the middle of the two armies, I want to analyze what's going on, right? He said, take me in the middle of the two armies. I want to see what's going on. I want to see who has come to fight. I want to see all the parties who have assembled to fight. And then what happened? Krishna says, okay, yes, sir. You are the boss. I'm the driver. I'll take you. And then Arjuna did nirikshan or analysis. And then he gave a lot of reasons for not fighting. So let's see some of those from Bhagavad Gita itself. So Arjuna's reasons for not fighting. So we discuss about the compassion from text number 28 to 30. Is compassion for friends and relatives, that we should not kill. Thou shalt not kill. If we kill them, we will know it's not good to kill our own friends and relatives. Then he also mentioned about that there'll be no enjoyment. We discussed this point that how can one enjoy without having anyone with, and we asked a survey also, would anyone like to go to a vacation with having no one around, no friends, no family, no husband, wife, friends, son, daughter, parents, no one, just by yourself, no one there. We would not want to go there. Then fear of sinful reactions, that if I kill, killing is sinful. But also it is mentioned that killing for a right cause is not sinful. And there are six reasons mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in text number 36 onwards, that what are those situations in which one can kill. In text number 36, you can read that. Basically, if one is trying to give poison, uh, if one is trying to set one's house on fire, if one trying to attack the deadly weapons, attack with deadly weapons, trying to plunder the riches, etc. There are 6 reasons mentioned. And actually, Kauravas were guilty of all those 6 reasons because they had tried to feed Bhima with poison. They had tried to disrobe Mata Draupadi. They had tried to steal away all their wealth. So they were guilty of all the 6 reasons, not just one of those. So in short, it would not have been wrong to kill them because they were Kshatriyas. But Arjuna is saying, well, from the Artha Shastra perspective, or it is a lower kind of Shastra compared to Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra says that we should forgive. So Arjuna is kind of, saying that, well, from Dharma Shastra, we should be compassionate and not kill. And then later he also gives the reason that which we will talk today, destruction of family values, that the family values will be destroyed, women will be unprotected, who will continue the family traditions, and there will be a lot of problems because all the males will be killed in the war, the females will not be protected, the unscrupulous men will take advantage and cause Varna Sankara or bad progeny. And then later in 2.6, which we will read next time probably, he's kind of confused and indecision. He is not knowing what is right, what is wrong. Um, how many of you go through, or how many of us go through such situations? Indecision, right? We often go through what is right, what is wrong. We are not sure. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the manuals for all of us so that we can understand what is right, what is wrong. We can decide. Often people think that Bhagavad Gita I will study or I will read when I am free, correct? When I am free, when I get some time, I will read. But actually, that's not the case. What was Arjuna's situation when he was trying to get the message of Bhagavad Gita? He was in the middle of a war. It was a great crisis situation. It was not he was not just casually hanging out, with his friends, or he was not just lying around in his living room. Okay, let's read Bhagavad Gita today. Often great things come at the time of calamity or difficulty. So we should not postpone the study of Bhagavad Gita thinking, oh, right now I have a lot of things going on in life. Right now my kids are small, or I have to work very hard. I'm not yet married. Because there'll never be a right time. The person who is studying will think, let me do Bhagavad Gita after studying when I get a job. One who gets a job, then he will think, let me read Bhagavad Gita after getting married. One who gets married and will think, oh, I just got married, let me read Bhagavad Gita after I get kids, right? One who gets kids, then he'll think, well, the kids are young, too much responsibilities. Let me read Bhagavad Gita when the kids are little, settled. When they go to college, I'll be free, right? Then the kids will go to college and the person will think, well, now the kids need to get married. Then I'll be all free from my responsibilities. Correct? So there is no end. There is no end. We discussed, I think, in one of the sessions about the story of Kailash, that the person continues to procrastinate, but the ideal time is not tomorrow. The ideal time is today. No matter what our situation is, we are all going through ups and downs, and the ups and downs will continue to come in each one's life. So the best thing is to not procrastinate, especially such an important thing like reading Bhagavad Gita, and try to balance our life and have a part in our lives where we study Bhagavad Gita as well. So let's read a few verses from Bhagavad Gita from text number 39 onwards. We will read text number 39 onwards. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnana dine dine sakrit amritasnanam sansara malanashanam. Anyone who bathes in the Ganges of Bhagavad Gita will be purified of all the impurities. So text 39. Kulasheya pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashta kulam kritsnam adharmo abhi bhavati yutta. Okay, yes, Ravi Prabhu, would you like to read the translation of this one?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and all devotees. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
Thank you so much. So, as I mentioned before, here Arjuna is giving the fourth reason for not fighting. And what is that? Destruction of family values. And he continues to do so from text number 39 to 43. That what will happen? The family's values will be destroyed. The Kula Dharma will be destroyed. Who will give the right samskar if the elders are not there? Correct? Nowadays, what happens to elders? Elders are treated as burden. Correct? And there are so many old age homes opening. Why? Because elders are treated as burden. Children think them as burden. And let me tell you a story in this regard. One time, yes, a person, gets married and was living with his parents, and the wife comes and they had some disagreements, and then they get child also. So now they are somehow this family, because the wife says, well, we don't the parents are too demanding, I can't handle all their demands, so let's kind of live separately and or get rid of them in some way or form. And husband can't do much, he has to just comply with the wife and says, father, actually I want to take you for some pilgrimage. And the father says, okay. So indirectly, he's trying to trick the father and says, okay, I want to take you for a pilgrimage. But he takes him to the forest. He and his father, the mother was already gone by time. So he takes his father to a forest and says, Father, I think he's, I'll come back after some time. You carry on with your pilgrimage, and and I'll see you later. In short, kind of a polite or false way of saying that I want to get rid of you. And this father starts to laugh. Ha 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 ha. It is like a madman laughing. Can anyone guess why is he laughing? Any guesses? Why is the father now laughing? And that too, he's like laughing so loudly. So this person is.
I can't hear you, Babuji.
You can't hear me. How about others? Can you hear me
Same
now?
here. Yeah, we cannot hear you, Prabhuji.
Something problem in volume.
Are you able to? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Babuji.
Sorry
Yes.
about that. So, till what point did I say? The son takes him to the forest for a pilgrimage.
The father laughed.
The father started to laugh. Yes, so the father was laughing like a madman. Ha 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 ha. And the son was confused. Well, what's going on? So, any guesses why this father was laughing and what was going on? Any guesses? Okay, I'll try. And the son was also confused because it's quite atypical, right? The son was totally confused what's going on. And the son asked him, "No, father, why are you laughing so loudly?" He said, my dear, son,
Hello?
can you hear now? Is it audible? Okay, good.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So the son asked the father, why are you laughing? And the father replied, well, my dear child, I know that you're not going to come and you want to get rid of me. But the sad thing is that, you know, I'm just getting the reaction of my karma because about 50 years back, some years, 30 years back, I did the same thing. I brought my father here and never saw him again. So I'm just laughing for you that your son, about 30 years later, will be doing the same thing and you'll be getting the reaction of what you are doing, and I'm getting the reaction of what I'm doing. But the point is, it is a funny story, but a deep lesson there. The lesson is that elders or seniors have seen, I guess that's why they're called seniors, have seen a life much more and they have a lot of wisdom. So we must take advantage, we must seek guidance, not just by senior by age, but one who has spiritual wisdom, one who has spiritual maturity. We must seek their shelter. And Arjuna's point was that the teachers will be gone, the grandfather will be gone. Who will give the good values to the family? So, in short, we should never treat elders, parents as burden. Rather, we should give all respects and seek their guidance. For no purpose should the elder members of the family be slain. That was Arjuna's point, which is quite valid. And then he continues that the family values will be destroyed. Who will do the rituals? And if the father is dead, the son has supposed to do the ritual, and then like that the generations continue. So all that will be stopped. And then irreligion will come, adharma will come. And then there's also discussion about Garbdam Sanskar, because the child starts to learn from the moment of conception, or when the soul arrives, from the moment of conception in the child, even in the womb of the mother, is learning
You're
like
not
how
audible now.
I am not audible. Is that correct?
We can hear you, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's fine. We're able to hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you, Prabhu.
You can give
I
a
can.
thumbs up,
Yes.
or you can hear the reaction button. Give a thumbs up. Okay, most can hear. So awesome. So there will be destruction of family values. There will be one Sankara, and in short, there will be problems in the family. So better we should not fight. In short, that's Arjuna's reasoning, and then he continues to give more reasons that. But later, I want to jump to a few verses and talk about the last two verses, because from 39 to 43 we are discussing about Arjuna's reason for not fighting, and in particular the reason he gave was because of destruction of family values. So now let's move on to the text number, so last three verses, 44, 45 and 46. Aham aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yadrajya sukhalobhena hantam swajanam udyataha. Okay, would someone like to read? Yes, Megha Mataji, you want to read?
Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Now, kind of the chapter 1 is coming to a conclusion. He is thinking, well, to enjoy, we are ready to kill, not a very healthy idea. In short, giving multiple reasons. He has given 4 reasons so far. Let's see what happens. Yadimam pratikaram ashastram shastra panayah dhartarashtrarane hanyas tanme shemataram bhave. Anyone wants to read this one? Yes, Shital Mataji, please.
Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So Arjuna is saying it's better for me to die than to kill my own brothers, relatives, friends, etc. So, and finally, the last verse of Sanjay. Sanjay uvacha eva muktva Arjuna sankhye rathopastha upavishat visrijya sa sharam chapam shoka samvignam manasaha. Okay, who wants to read this one? Yes, Sampada Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Thank you, Hari Bol. Back to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So this is the last verse of this chapter, chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And what is the outcome in the chapter 1? Krishna has not spoken any words, correct? Did we see anywhere Sri Bhagavan Uvacha? No, we didn't see. So Krishna is, what is it doing so far? He's just obeying the order. He's just obeying the order of his master, because, or friend, you can say. The friend said, well, can you take me in the middle of the army? Sure. So he took to the middle of the army. And then, so Visrijya, so Arjuna has given up his bow, the famous Gandiva bow, and he sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Very, very important word. Mind overwhelmed with grief. Shoka samvigna manasaha. I think that happens to us also at times, that we are trying to analyze everything by our own. And what's the outcome? Mind overwhelmed with grief, confusion, frustration, distraction, depression, etc. There's a great lesson here that if we just try to analyze, do nirikshan by our own self without seeking a guru, a bona fide guru, what will happen? We will be overwhelmed with grief, correct? There will not be any good outcome. So let's now understand this whole chapter in a summary form, okay? Because I promised that we will do so. So I want to keep up with my words. And let's see this. So before that, I also want to mention the signs of victory of Pandavas, okay? There were multiple signs. Number 1, the war was happening at Dharmashetra, Kurukshetra. Very, very important. How can adharma happen at the place of dharma? Number 2, Krishna is on the side of Pandavas. Victory is always where the Supreme Lord is present. Number 3, when the Pandavas blow their conch shell, and most importantly, when Krishna blew his conch shell, Panchajanya, the hearts of the Kauravas shattered. When Kauravas blew their conch shell, nothing happened to the Pandavas. Why? Because they're on the side of Dharma. And we discussed that example like a lie detector machine. If we have done the right, if we are righteous, and then if someone has a machine which can tell, like, if I'm speaking lie or truth, if I'm speaking true, then why will I be fearful, correct? But if someone is speaking false statement, that person will certainly be scared. His heart will shatter. And we also discussed flag of Arjuna's chariot was marked with Hanuman. Wherever Hanuman is present, Lord Ram is present. Where Lord Ram is there, Sita Mata is there. The goddess of fortune is also present. So how can there be defeat? And then chariot donated by Agni Dev and other Arjuna's accomplishments. So he was blessed with so many great accomplishments. So now I want to bring to a summary of chapter 1. And we will be going this like an entire Bhagavad Gita in acronym. So one wonderful senior Vaishnava has given this acronym, so which will help us to understand all the chapters in a summary form. But so let's not worry about the other chapters because we'll eventually be going through that. Let's today talk about the first chapter, which is Arjuna Vishad Yoga. In English, we say observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So it's basically Arjuna's confusion or Arjuna's state of mind. So it has an acronym called DOUBT, DOUBT. The first 12 verses talk about Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Okay, and we discuss their spiritual blindness, their obstinacy, their deep-rooted material conception of life, their diplomacy, their tendency to usurp the land, usurp the kingdom, their I, me, and mind propensity. They're basically demoniac. We can also say D for demoniac propensities. Blinded by greed, spiritual blindness, not desiring to see good, only desiring to see bad in others, only desiring to get more and more. And as a result, blind to good advice and counsel as well. So that's the D of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana from text number 1 onwards to 12. And Dhritarashtra's ungodly analysis also. He forgot Krishna out of the picture. O stands for ominous results. We discussed the signs of victory of Pandavas. There were a lot of signs that like Krishna on the side of Pandavas, flag marked with Hanuman, war happening at Dharmashetra. Those on the side of purity and righteousness are always victorious. So in short, it was quite evident from the beginning also. And on the Kaurava side, there were always disagreements. Like Karna had said, until Bhishma is present, I won't fight. There were a lot of disagreements. There were, and Bhishma and Drona were, Pandavas were so dear. The favorite student of Dronacharya was Arjuna. And of course, Vishnu Pitama had a lot of affection for the Pandavas. So there were a lot of ominous signs for the defeat of Kauravas or the victory of Pandavas. Bad signs. Then I believe from text number 21 to 27, basically, at that point, Arjuna says, hey, take me to the middle of the armies. What does it show? The war is about to begin. All the decisions have been made. The conches have been blown. No, this is not the time to do analysis. All the analysis had been done. So Arjuna's uncertainty is coming here. That he asked to take me in the middle of the armies. And Krishna does so to satisfy the orders. He is Bhakta Vatsala. He can do anything for his devotees. He's Achyuta. He never fails to protect his devotees. We discussed all those meanings as well. And it also shows a good lesson that despite the intensity of the situation, Arjuna takes time to reflect rather than just jumping on something. It's a good quality to be reflective, to be self-reflective. And then finally, bewilderment. So Arjuna is confused, begins to analyze the situation, things that lack in spiritual understanding, or because basically Arjuna was pure devotee, and we discussed that he was put into illusion. Why? Because the message can be given to all of us. And he was disturbed thinking, hey, this is my family. Hey, this will happen. I killed my own family. Not very good idea. So talking like a materialist, bereft of the broader spiritual vision. We discussed Vasudeva Kudumpakam. He had, how can one forget all the evil which Kauravas had done? How can one forget that all the, the disrobing of Mata Draupadi, the feeding of poison to Bhima? So after seeing all that, and like millions of soldiers are present, and this Arjuna is showing bewilderment, confusion, not knowing what to do, what to not to do. And finally, the last few verses is basically the turning point after he gives all the reasons, and that is cruel and heartless to kill. I accrue bad karma. What is the use of winning the kingdom and basically no one to enjoy with, the family values, the social structure will be completely gone. And finally, he gives up his mighty bow, Gandiva, and he's totally in grief, he's totally in depression, and not knowing what to do, what not to do. He says, what? I will not fight. He concludes, I will not fight. So that's chapter 1. And one reason he also gives in chapter 2, but since the theme is the same, 2.6 is basically indecision, that whether fighting is right or taking sannyas is right, or not fighting or getting killed by them is right, I'm not sure. So basically, better to live by begging rather than fighting. So he gives that reason, or basically, I do not know which is better. How many of us feel that in life, getting in crossroads in life, we are not knowing what is right, what is wrong? And we also discussed that if we just do analysis by our own mind, then we may not get the best solution. Our situation will be like Arjuna. So we will discuss what's the right solution in the next class, and how Arjuna approaches Krishna. That will be the subject of next class. How to overcome grief, how to overcome indecision. And all the reasons which I shared, all the 5 reasons, Krishna will answer one by one in chapter 2. All those reasons for not fighting, like compassion, indecision, destruction of family values, and killing of one's own swajana, or friends and family members. All those questions will be answered. So this is a quick summary of chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, entitled Arjuna Vishad Yoga. So I encourage everyone to read the Prabhupada's translations and purports. Of course, as I said, we will not be reading word to word, but that I encourage everyone individually to do. So if you read 5-7 pages a day, which will take only 10-15 minutes, it's easily doable. And I encourage you all to do so and not wait till the last moment, because if you wait for a couple of weeks, then it will keep moving. And then it will seem like an overwhelming task. Oh, I have to read 100 pages. But if you read 5 pages a day, I'm sure we can easily read the whole Bhagavad Gita also along. 5 pages a day is not a lot. So even like, let's say it has 700 pages approximately, 700 pages and reading one page takes about 3 minutes, correct? So in 15 minutes approximately, you can read 5 pages. So even if you read, how many days it will take? About 150 days, right? Approximately, to read 750 pages, right? 150 times 5. So 150 days only. So we have 365 days. That means if you read even alternate day, 5 pages, then also you'll be able to complete easily. So, or if you read daily 2 pages, is it difficult to read 2 pages a day or 3 pages a day? Not at all. But I encourage you to keep the momentum, because time will fly. After 4 weeks, we will be in the middle of chapter 2, or after 6 weeks, we'll be a little further ahead. Then it may become a little overwhelming. But if you read along, you will learn better. You will be able to apply better as well. So I encourage you to read along as we are reading. Like, for those who have not yet started, it's not still, we have just read chapter 1. So I encourage to read chapter 1 if you have not read, and try to read a couple of pages every day. It's not very difficult, and I certainly encourage you all. So let's take some reflections, some thoughts before I move on to some other topic. I want to share also the lessons from chapter 1. We have discussed during our sessions also, but I want to summarize that as well. But before that, let's take some reflections or thoughts, any comments, questions, additions. Questions we can take later, but let's take any reflection. Something stuck you, something you really liked from this discussion so far or our reading? Or anyone? Yes, Aparna Mataji, you have your hand raised up. Please want to share something?
Hare Krishna, certain verses were left while we were going along, isn't so?
Yes,
When we were
probably
discussing.
you are right. But as I mentioned, but in our journey, I discussed all the themes and I summarized all the reasons also which Arjuna is giving. So all of you would, so I did cover in my summary and then the reasons what Arjuna is giving. But
Sorry, but I was sitting with Gita, so
okay.
to comment upon, but don't take it another way.
No, that's a good. Okay, let's take you. Would you like me to go like to cover verse by verse, every verse translation, like word to word or theme to theme?
It is according to your choice. Rest, we should do also something.
Yes. And if you will read, and I think that's a good idea, which will give some impetus to all of you also to read that. So we discussed the summary, we have covered all the reasons. I know we missed, like, let's say, for example, text 42, 43, but that talks about the destruction of family values. So I would like you all to read also, which will give some impetus to read. Thank you for your comment. Yes, Lakshay or Babu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu, as you rightly mentioned in the beginning, so Bhagavad Gita is, it's not just a text, it can be applied in a real life situation. So in the first chapter, now if we see that Arjuna is not able to decide what is, he is confused and he was compassionate, but he forgot about the dharma, all those components. So definitely keeping a dharma in the mind and making the decision, that is one of the important component. And here even in a home, sometimes um, uh, as a parents, we also give to the child whatever they want. Maybe we may be compassionate or they may be crying because of that we are giving, but we need to understand the dharma and then do that accordingly. So these are the reflection I can see that. And always the importance of guru comes into picture when we are not able to take a decision, because always when we take a decision, uh, always know if it is easy, if no which is if one side is no better, other side is not at all comparable, but we get a confusion when what decision we have to take. That is where guru comes into picture. And in the first chapter, and Krishna just listening what is Arjuna's mind and what is he's in mind. And definitely I'm eagerly waiting to understand what is Krishna is giving. Definitely that will help all of us. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That's so true. And I really like the last point you shared, that making decision between 1 and 0 is very easy. Black and white is very easy. Like, for example, uh, if the exam is tomorrow, then should I go and watch a movie and should I study? Right? It's very obvious decision that I should study because I have an exam tomorrow. But sometimes there are a lot of gray zones in life that where we need higher guidance, where we need a person with spiritual maturity to help us, to guide us so that we can make the right choices in life. Okay, let's take some lessons, a lot of wonderful lessons from chapter 1, and we will discuss them. And of course, feel free to add. Number one, place or association has a very deep impact on us and our behavior. Right? All of you agree? One time, Yudhishthir Maharaj they were doing something there in their exile time, and Bhima was on the other side of the river in a village, in a different village, and Yudhishthir Maharaj was on the other side. So basically, the river was dividing them. And Bhima was, starting to say, "Hey, you did so many things wrong. You put everything at stake in the gambling. This is not good. You didn't fight, and you all reasons basically, kind of complaining to the elder brother." And Yudhishthira said, "Okay, being Dharmaraj, being the elder brother, being so intelligent, he said, 'Can you please come to this side of the river, and then we will talk about it?'" And then he came on that side. And guess what? Then he started to beg forgiveness. "My dear elder brother, please forgive me. I don't know how I got so empowered with so much passion and ignorance that I started to accuse you and say all sorts of nonsense things. Please forgive me for my wrong behavior." And Yudhishthira said, "Well, that village on the other side of the river is full of people who are very, very in the mode of passion and ignorance. So that was encompassing you. But this side is a totally different village with different people who are in the mode of goodness. So your mind has completely shifted. So association has a very, very deep impact. The place has a deep impact. If we think, "Oh, I'll go to a bar and just drink lemonade, and if keep going, I'll only get lemonade." My dear friends, it's just a matter of time that we'll start drinking alcohol. Correct? Everyone agrees to that? So, association, power of place. So, this war was happening at Dharmashetra, so that's how we linked this point. Number two, don't be spiritually blind. Spiritual blindness we discussed. Excessive attachment to material conception of life. What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? Duryodhana and the D of Duryodhana and Dushasana and Dhritarashtra, they were blind, spiritually blind, not just blind from birth. Dhritarashtra was not just blind. Prabhupada mentioned is spiritually blindness. Attachment to the evil, attachment to me and mine clouds our intelligence, does not allow us to see the good in others. And I mentioned I'll tell a story from last time. And I didn't tell it last time, so I'll tell it today. One time, Dronacharya told Duryodhana and Yudhishthira, he told Duryodhana, "Why don't you go and get someone who is better than you? Find someone who's better than you in any aspect, in cooking, in any aspect. There are so many qualities in life. Just find someone good in war or in anything, right?" And then he told Yudhishthira Maharaj, "Go and get someone who is worse than you in any aspect. In any aspect, there could be someone who is less accomplished than you. Just go." And they all searched. They both of them searched. Yudhishthira Maharaj went to a lot of places. Someone was a washerman. What he saw, oh my God, he's so absorbed in washing the clothes. Look at his determination. Look at his enthusiasm. He's so fixed in his mind and consciousness, in his duty. And like that, he went to a cobbler. He went to different people, but in everyone he saw what? Good. And Duryodhana also went to different people. And he saw, well, this person has this bad quality, this person has that bad quality. And ultimately, I don't have this bad quality, I am better than that. I am better than him, I am better than her. So they both came empty handed. Why? Because Duryodhana could not see anyone worse than him, or he could not find anyone worse than him, because he thought he is the best. He thought he has all the good qualities and no one has any other good qualities. So spiritual blindness. Spiritual blindness does not allow us to see good in others. Spiritual blindness does not allow us to seek good counsel from others. Because one thinks, I know everything, I'm very intelligent, I'm very smart, I know everything. What can someone teach me? What can Guru teach me? I know everything. I can teach Guru. He should take shelter of me. So, spiritual blindness. But the totally opposite was Yudhishthir Maharaj. He always saw good in others. Although being such a great personality means humility. Humility means seeing good in others. So we discussed that. Don't do an ungodly analysis of life. In life, we will be doing a lot of analysis. I discussed this example of, let's say, getting married. Analysis is done. But what's the analysis done? Oh, how much he earns, how much she earns, how they look like, how many degrees they have. The analysis should be, the foremost principle should be dharma, whether that person follows dharma or Krishna consciousness or not. Because if the analysis is done on externals, like how Duryodhana was doing, ultimately it will lead to defeat. And that's how so many marriages turn to divorce. Right? I may be a little off topic, but it is a very practical and important analysis of life and in any aspect. So if dharma is on our side, then victory will be there. So seek the seer, seek the seer or spiritual master, guru, mentor, spiritual guide. Bring Krishna near, drive away all fear. If Krishna is in our life, then why fear? All the fear will go away, all the sin impurities will go away. Don't bring out worse in others like Duryodhana. Bring out the best in others. Our words should be such, our intent and actions and speech should be such that they help to bring out the best in others. Not like Duryodhana to bring out, you remember how we came to this lesson? He spoke about, look at that, oh Dronacharya, look at that assembly of warriors carefully gathered by Drupad Putrena. He didn't say Drishtadyumna. He said Drupad Putrena to bring out the enviousness, to bring out the past 20, 30, 40 years back, this might have happened. I don't know the exact, but at least some decades happened. At that time, they were young when this kind of conflict happened between Dronacharya and Drupad, but he brought that out. He knew that. He used his intelligence to bring the bad in others or bring out the worst in others. So that's not a very good idea. Because as parents, as husband, wife, whatever our roles are, we should try to bring out the best in others. It's a matter of choice. The next lesson, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala, he's Achyuta. He never fails to protect his devotees if we take shelter of him. Always follow the side of Dharma or Krishna consciousness, and victory will be on our side. Sorry, there's a typo here. Victory is always on the side of Lord Krishna is present. Don't have a separatist mentality, Swajana, like Dhritarashtra, like Duryodhana. And later in a conditioned state, or when Arjuna was put into that illusion, Arjuna also thought like that for the message to be given to all of us. So that mentality is not encouraged here, I, me, and mine. Be self-reflective. Even in the midst of difficult situations, we should not lose our temper. We should not kind of panic and be reflective, because if we panic, if we lose our temper, then we cannot make good choices in life. So just self-analysis without seeking higher shelter would lead to grief and depression. So we have to take higher shelter, which Arjuna will do in chapter 2. Right now, he is in a complete state of grief. And give good samskaras or value system to family, kids, etc. We discussed the importance of samskara, family values. Character is very important, dharma is very important. Nowadays, people give good other skills. I'm not saying anything specific to anyone, but in general, people give a lot of good, material education, good schools, good colleges, good dresses, good food, good, bed and shoes and whatnot, which is all fine. We are not against that. We are not saying not to provide. But sorry to say that animals also bring food to their children. Animals also build a house for their children, like a bird builds a nest, a rat builds a burrow, and like that. So if we just fulfill those material needs, like food, clothing, and shelter, then and not give the samskara or the good impressions or the good values, Krishna consciousness, then we have not completed our duty as a parent successfully. So it's very, very important duty of a parent to give spiritual values. And last but not the least is Gita was spoken at the time of crisis. So we should not think that when everything is smooth and rosy and cozy, then I'll study Bhagavad Gita, because that's never going to happen. Because this world is called Dukhalyam Ashashvatam. In Bhagavad Gita, we'll study that later, how this is entitled or termed by Lord Krishna as Dukhalayam. So right time is now, right time is today, right age is today. We're already late actually. Some of us are in 20s, some of us are in 30s, some of us are in 40s, some in 50s, and some fortunate ones are in their 10s, like Sampada, or some in their teenagers. They are taking it in their early ages, which is recommended by Prahlad Maharaj, Kumar Charit Pragya, to understand the science of Krishna consciousness from an early age. And we have special classes for kids also, because so that they can understand in their own language in an easier way. Because if we give this spiritual education in the right age, then it's like a pot which is still not yet baked. It can be shaped by the potter nicely. If the pot is baked, then it's hard. Old habits die hard. If we have developed certain habits for last 30 years, it will be very, very difficult to change those or undo those. But children are like sponge. Children are like, fresh clay. So we should, and how can we do that? By setting good example. If we teach them by our own example. If we study Bhagavad Gita, they'll study Bhagavad Gita. If we watch movies, they will watch movies. So we should not expect, I'll watch movies and I want my child to get good samskaras or spiritual values. That's cheating, correct? So these are some of the lessons. Now we can take some more lessons, or if something really struck you, and then we'll come to some questions as well. Anyone wants to share any thoughts, any comments, any additions? Chapter 1 we kind of completed today. Any thoughts, additions, questions? Can everyone hear me? Okay. Yes, Sridhama Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for your wonderful wisdom. Many people think that chapter 1 is not very significant because it's just giving the description of the war and Lord Krishna is not really speaking. But it's as significant or important as any other chapter, because this is a chapter where the problem is really identified. The problem is Arjuna is looking things at a bodily conception. Once that is what is happening with us, we are looking everything because based on, as you rightly said, I, me, mine, myself, so on. Once we come out of that and we see that we are actually the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, everything will work good. So this is a very significant chapter that identifies the problem. They say if you identify the problem properly, 50% of the solution is already taken place. Hari Bol Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your wonderful reflection, Prabhu. But that's so true. When the enemy is invisible, it's hard to overcome the enemy, right? Imagine if someone is slapping us, boom, and we don't know who is that person, right? It'll be very hard to overcome. So the first step, as Prabhu mentioned, is to identify that what is the problem, what's the root cause, digging into the root cause, and then we will see how Arjuna solved that problem through the guidance of the Supreme Lord, and that's basically the Bhagavad Gita, the message of God or the song of God. Yes, very nice. Anyone else wants to share any reflections, thoughts, or comments, any questions? Yeah. Any questions anyone has in this chapter or your readings so far? Anything stuck you? Anything you want to share? This is the time before we move on. Yes, Ramon Prabhu, please. And then Aparna Mataji can go after him.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I'd just like to reiterate what you just said earlier about we should take to Krishna consciousness now and don't leave it for later. I myself has been exposed to ISKCON for some time, and I didn't actually take it very seriously. And I have many regrets for not doing that. Now that I am taking it seriously, I'm getting the essence of it, and I'm encouraging everyone who is hearing this, please try to take it very seriously. You will not regret one moment. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
So much. This day is the age of reviews, right? So we are getting testimonials from a very experienced devotee. Correct? When we want to buy some product on Amazon, we see the reviews, good or bad, right? So Prabhuji is such an experienced person, and sharing, I mean, like jokes apart, but it's a very serious thing actually, because as I said, these are the spiritually mature, advanced, senior souls who are who have lived their life much more than most of us, right? Some of us are in 30s, some of us are in 40s, some in 50s. So let's take those advice of the senior Vaishnavas very seriously, because they certainly know a lot more than us. So because why is he telling this to us? For his benefit? If we take it seriously, will he get benefit? No, we'll get benefit, right? We'll get benefit. So he selflessly, when Prabhupada came at the age of 70 years for his benefit, to give Krishna consciousness to the United States, in a country in such a harsh environment, at the age of 70 years, it's very difficult, correct? But for our benefit, so we must take it seriously and try our best to read Bhagavad Gita, try to understand, try to follow, and there is nothing to lose, right? There's only gains and gains. Okay, yes, Aparna Mataji, can share your thoughts or reflections, questions.
Hare Krishna. We are fortunate to hear the Vedic wisdom, that is Song of Lord, from your mouth. And interpretations are not philosophical. It becomes easy to understand the things in such a manner which touches our soul. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for your association and feedback. So anyone else? Yes, Manasa Mataji, you have a comment or a question?
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is Lord Krishna. He is the backside, and he will make other persons to do things right accordingly. My question is, my doubt is, why did Krishna selected Arjuna as a medium to tell Bhagavad Gita for the complete world?
Because he has to put someone into illusion, right? We discussed this example like a talk show, correct? In a talk show, the host invites a kind of an expert. We discussed this example, if you remember, that the host will invite, let's say this is health talk show. So the expert here is actually expert who is coming is the expert doctor. Let's say you're talking about, let's say, diabetes. And this person is already friends with the host, so because the host knows him, and the host is acting like as if he doesn't know anything, and he's acting as if he has all the diseases. Okay, what are the symptoms for diabetes? What if one gets diabetes? What are the precautions one should do, etc., etc. And therefore, and the expert doctor is answering all those questions for all of us. So coming back to your question, why Krishna chose Arjuna? Because does it. Krishna engages in all the pastimes through his devotees. Arjuna was a dear devotee of the Supreme Lord and a dear friend of the Supreme Lord. So when Krishna has to exchange in different pastimes, like giving the message or even fighting, he fights with his devotees. How Jai and Vijay come as Shishupal and Dantavakra, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So although they are devotee, but on a stage they act like sometimes demons. So all these Pandavas are not conditioned souls like us, and they are special, like Krishna's entourage. So let's imagine like a big CEO or a president of a country going to some place. All the entourage, all his assistants, his close friends, etc., will accompany him or her. And so same with the Supreme Lord. All his entourage is his close mother, father, Mata Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, etc. They accompany his devotees, friends, they accompany. So, and most important, he was Krishna, and that's actually mentioned in the introduction also, that Arjuna was Krishna's great devotee and friend, and his kind of the equals also, so that this message can be given.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Very nice question. Anything else anyone has to add or share? Okay, so we have time. So that means we can discuss a few verses of chapter 2. And let's start reading chapter 2 from text 1. And at least we can go till text 6 and then the topic changes there. Yes, Manjulali, Priya, you want to share something? Or read?
No, sorry, it was by mistake.
Okay, so let's get started with chapter 2. Chapter 2 is entitled Contents of Gita Summarized. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Ashrukurnakulikshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Would someone like to read translation who is not yet read? Yes, Anita Mataji, please.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words.
Thank you so much. Look at Arjuna's situation, full of compassion, and mind is depressed, and eyes are full of tears, hands are shaking, Gandiva is falling. He spoke to Madhusudana, the killer of Madhu demon. And it's a very nice purport actually, and we discussed last time also. What does compassion mean? Material compassion or lamentation, tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Very important. Right? Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. Prabhupada's words directly. So real compassion is not on the compassion on the level of body. Let's say if a person meets with an accident, will we take the car to the garage first, or even the rescue operation team comes? Do they take the car to the garage first, or do they take the person to the hospital first? Person
to the hospital.
Right? Everyone agrees with that? The car is just a covering, correct? The real driver is the important aspect. Without the driver, the car is just dead matter. The car cannot move even an inch without the driver. Similarly, if a person is drowning, would we save the expensive, let's say, tuxedo suit the person is wearing, or will try to save the person? We'll try to save the person. Even if the coat goes in, water, who cares, right? Will we care? Oh, alas, my coat is gone, right? Right? Will we try to save the coat or the person? The person. So there are multiple, points to understand this topic, that the real compassion is not just on the level of body. The real compassion is on the level of soul, and that's called self-realization. To understand who am I, and that will come later. So I don't want to we'll be certainly talking a lot about body and soul. So misplaced compassion is not good. Compassion should always be with intelligence. And I want to bring one topic or one example of Mata Kekai. In Ramayana, there is an example of Kekai. Kekai was the mother of, who knows the answer?
Bharatji.
Bharatji, very nice. And she took two boons, we know the story, to send Lord Ram to the forest and to enthrone Bharat as the king. And she thought what? She's doing great for his son Bharat, correct? Bharat was out at that time. He had gone to his mama's uncle's home. And she thought she's doing wonderful, correct? Her son would be very happy when he comes back that I have removed the throne from his path. And she thought she was doing great. Right? That's called misplaced compassion. Was Bharat happy when he came back? Not at all. So, compassion without proper intelligence will lead to this kind of. Bharat said, well, if you would not have been in a woman's body, I would have killed you. That's called misplaced compassion. So, without proper intelligence, compassion for the body is called misplaced compassion. So, we are not saying that if someone is hungry, we give them prasad. That's the best thing. It will not only help them bodily, but also help them spiritually, emotionally. So let's continue with the next verse and see what Lord Krishna. So the first verse, the Supreme Lord is speaking here. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastvam Kashmalam Midam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Aswargyam Akirti Karma Arjuna. Yes, would someone like to read this verse?
I can, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Person of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So this is very, very important verse. And Srila Prabhupada here in the purport, which is a very detailed purport, 2 pages, Prabhupada mentions about the real understanding of Bhagavan. Okay, so the word Bhagavan means the one who has 6 opulences. And what are those 6 opulences? Unlimited strength. Can anyone lift their hand for 1 hour? Keep it, lifted for 1 hour. You don't have to carry anything. In just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it will start paining, right? Correct? You agree with that? Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days and the 7 nights, and it was about 7 years of age. And Govardhan Hill, which is like 20 or 15 miles in current circumference, that's a lot. We can't just lift our hand for a couple of minutes, what to speak of lifting anything. He killed so many demons like Putana and Kamsa, etc., who were very, very powerful. So unlimited strength, unlimited beauty. The beauty in this world A person may be, beautiful in their youth, may get Mr. World Award, Miss World Award, Miss Universe, etc. But do they always remain beautiful? Do their beauty remain whatever they were in at the age of 20 and 50 and 70? Does it remain the same? No, it fades away with time. But Krishna is now Yauvanamcha. He is always most beautiful. He never gets old. While speaking Bhagavad Gita, as per external calculations, he was 115 years of age, approximately. But he always looked like a fresh, young adult, always beautiful. So unlimited strength, unlimited beauty, unlimited wealth. Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambrama Sevyamana. Thousands and thousands of Lakshmis are waiting in line to serve the Supreme Lord. That's the Supreme Lord Krishna. We are all running after Lakshmi Devi to get some wealth. But thousands of Lakshmis are waiting because he is Lakshmipati, Lakshminath. Then unlimited wealth, unlimited strength, unlimited knowledge. He spoke Bhagavad Gita. All these scriptures are coming from the Supreme Lord. We have such a difficult time understanding. The Supreme Lord spoke this in about 45 minutes approximately. Ultimately, the source of all knowledge. And then, famous, right? He's supremely famous. Some of us may know the current president of US, right? But do we know who was the president 40 years back? Do we know? We don't know. He must be someone, right? Some XYZ, right? At that time, he must be famous as the current president, right? You all agree with that? Or some of us may know the current Hollywood stars, Bollywood stars. But do we know who was the Hollywood star, Bollywood star 50 years back? Probably not, right? At that time, they must be as famous as the current ones. But with time, their fame will just go away. And what to speak of this fame? Only a few, couple of thousand or couple of million people may know, correct? At max. But Krishna's fame, unlimited universes, unlimited, incarnations, and unlimited, Ananta Shesha with thousands of hoods combined together cannot completely describe about the glories of the Supreme Lord. From time immemorial, he's been doing so, but still it's never ending. The fame of a so-called hero, so-called, any famous person or whatever, it's limited, correct? It's not unlimited. And that too is only bound with time. Whether it's wealth, whether it's beauty, whether it's fame, it's all bound with time. But time will just fade away. So, and with all these qualities, he's ready to drive the chariot of Arjuna. Isn't that amazing? It shows his supreme renunciation. So these are the 6 opulences of the Supreme Lord. If anyone has one of those good qualities, or let's say one of these qualities like a lot of wealth, a lot of beauty, a lot of fame, a lot of knowledge, they get proud, correct? And will they drive anyone's chariot or car? Let's say they'll become a driver? No. If you ask, hey, Mr. World, or some very wealthy person or very, beautiful person, hey, can you drive my car? They say, do you know whom you're talking about? Whom are you talking to? What do you think, I'm your driver? But Krishna does that because he's supremely renounced also. Humble, humility. He was washing the feet of all the guests in the assembly when there was a Rajasuya Yagya organized by Yudhishthira Maharaj. This is a very, very nice verse, and Prabhupada is giving a very detailed explanation about the Supreme Lord in Bhagavan. So I would encourage you all to read. And Krishna is saying that these impurities do not, fit you. This Krishna is basically encouraging. This is a duty of a mentor, correct? It's a duty of a spiritual guide, because we are often in the stage where in the low that don't get so depressed. How come these impurities are getting overpowering your potential? You are this in the Bharat Kula, in the dynasty of Akirtim Karam Arjuna. These do not take you to high destination. They do not fit you. You have much more, my child. You have much more. You can do a lot better. So we should always encourage. If someone is going through a tough time, we should be encouraging. We should try to bring out the best in others, not try to further degrade. Hey, you can't do anything. You can't, because the world is just trying to get out the worst. So we should always try to bring out the best in others. And Krishna, although he is not agreeing with all his proposals, which we will see later, that how he will refute, but at the same time, Krishna is very encouraging. So let's read one. It's almost time, but last time or next time we'll continue from here, that chapter 2, text number 2 or 3 onwards. Basically, Arjuna is will take shelter of Krishna very soon. But at this point also, Arjuna, the relationship is more on a friendly level, right? That be strong and get up, but he's not giving any guidance. He's not trying to refute all the arguments which Arjuna had given, which he will do later. And chapter 2 is one of the most important. Of course, every word is important, every shloka is important. But chapter 2 has a lot of important lessons, namely, who am I, and what are the qualities of great souls, tolerance, I, me, and mine. All these things we'll discuss, the body and I, which is a very important topic, in the next session. So we'll pause here unless anyone has any closing comments or questions. Anyone before we pause for today? So I hope you all liked it, and I'm sorry for the technical issues. So man proposes, God disposes, right? So no matter how much we plan, there will certainly uncertainties to humble us sometimes. So thank you again. I'm so grateful to all of you. Take out your precious time and give so much inspiration and enthusiasm to study Bhagavad Gita together. And we'll continue this journey week after week, every Saturday evening. So, and even in the middle, you have any questions, which you would like to discuss, feel free to reach out. My number is there, email is there. Feel free to reach out. Okay, so thank you so much. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samvita Gaur Govinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.